Some of you may have heard that saying, don't get high on your own supply. Well, this has never been more true. Now that we see McLaren and Lando Norris now jumping on, we have proof, ladies and gentlemen, of what I've been saying all along. Now, there's maybe a tiny, tiny, little bitty, incy wincy chance that McLaren come around and win the championship. But their head's not in the game here. Their head is not in the game. They don't have that fear. And let me tell you why.
Walsh running the Irish green, and look at the move he's making down to the inside.
Moves to the front from fifth all the way to the lead in lap one.
Walsh takes win number 2.
Peter. Walsh. Now I'm going to show you proof in just one moment, but here's what I'm going to speak from an ex-racing driver's point of view, and every other driver I've ever known, and quite honestly, a lot of sports athletes in general, whether you're a basketball, cricket player, rugby player, it's a lot of the same time. The mentality of winning and destroying your opponent. And this is not happening with Lando Norris. Number one, every time, guys, I was always in a racing car. I'd win a race. The radio would come on. The team would come on. Congratulations, buddy. Nice one. Oh, you're having a bit of a celebration on the warm down lap. You come in, you get out of the car. Everybody has a bit of a hug, right? That's okay. You know, hey, good job, buddy, or a hand fist, hand bump, whatever. You go on the podium, you spray your champagne, you go back to your team awning or your team truck, and you go into the back of the truck, wherever your resting area is, whether it's a special section or whatever, but you go into the background, behind the scenes. You still have your racing driver's suit on here. The only thing you don't have on is your helmet and balaclava and gloves. You've taken that off, but you're still sitting in your racing boots, your thermal underwear, your fireproof underwear, your racing suit itself, and you're having a beer with your buddies, your team owner, your team engineer, your family, your friends in the back. You're having a beer. Now, you might sit there for a few hours. Maybe the team is still packing up, right? So they've got a bit of work to do. They've got to pack away all the things, tie it up, get ready for the traveling that night or the next morning. But when they're finished, you're either staying in your truck or your seated area, drinking away with your team, or you're going back to the hotel and having a few drinks there, or getting absolutely pissed off your head, okay? whichever goes, man, right? But either way, you're having some fun. I have not seen anything like this. What we have here, we have Lando Norris now jumping on the bandwagon. He won in Singapore only just a few days ago. Great win. No doubt about it, lads. I'm even rooting for McLaren, but I've accepted defeat. It's over. It's done. They don't have the edge. You know why? Because they're not going into the back having a beer. They're not saying, okay, lads, another one down. We've shaven off a few more points. They're not saying that. There's no need for big celebrations here, okay? We'll take a couple of photos and behind the scenes in the truck or whatever. There's no big song and dance here. And they are. And we have the proof. Let's take a look at this video.
Kind of thought Lando would look a bit happier than that. There we go. He's giving his number one a hug. One more for luck. Who's got the champagne? There we go. Nice. And that's interesting, actually, from something Lando said earlier in the weekend, when people said, you're not going crazy like you've won. And he said, I've got bigger things now to worry about. We don't celebrate wins. I don't celebrate wins so much anymore because we have a bigger purpose.
Now, speaking as a man who actually wants Lando Norris to win the championship this year, this guy is, like we're saying, he's off edge. He doesn't have it here. And you know, guys, like I said at the start here, I know a lot of sports stars or sports athletes who really competed for that edge, the win. Now, McLaren, unbelievable turnaround this year. It is insane. I mean, they must be relieved. I would 100% understand that. Oh my God, lads, we thought it was over and now we're winning? What in God's name is going on here? You know, I can 1,000,000,000,000% understand that mentality. But what I know of the racing world and people who fight, who compete. You don't rest on your laurels. You don't get high on your own supply here. You don't start dancing around the place. And look at them, lads. Look at them. I know so many guys, and I wanted to crush my opponents. Lando Norris is saying in interviews here that, oh, I've got a bigger plan ahead. He's got a bit of a smile on his face. Yeah, like, I get it. Have a smile on your face. Yeah, sure. But he's beaming from ear to ear. He's got a lot of work to be done. And we are running out of time here. Max Verstappen, he might be having a bit of a panic on his hands, but he's still looking pretty damn good. He's got over 2 races in hand. This is not looking good. At this stage of the game, any racing driver I've known, they would have been on a high after they won the first couple of races or the first couple of podiums this year, especially when they came from nowhere, okay? They would have been on a high because, oh my God, lads, we've got a chance to win consistently now. Not just every now and then, consistently. And then, after about 1, maybe 2 podiums, you start to kick in and your head starts to say, hang on a second. We could win the World Championship here. You know why? Because that will be the competitive monster, the animal inside all of us. All of us. That because it's not enough. You want to rip them apart, destroy them. You want to dominate. And you want more and more and more and more. And I'm not seeing this with Lando Norris. You know, even though a few videos ago there, lads, I was saying that I've literally thrown in the towel. And at this stage of the game, I wasn't all for McLaren in terms of I've accepted defeat with that team. But I didn't think Lando Norris was jumping on the bandwagon here. I didn't think he'd be jumping around for joy. Now this is the first time we've seen him do this. And now this brings us up to Houston in America in 3 weeks' time. Another month break. Very strange, right? But let's move on to some other F1 news in a second. But guys, where do we go with this? Haven't we all been there? Victory can defeat you. Victory can lose. You can lose your edge. That competitive, I want to crush edge. And all of a sudden, the moment you start blinking, closing your eyes, the moment that happens, bang, you get someone else overtaking you and they take the win, or they win the championship. I think a lot of us can relate to this, guys. Except victory can defeat you. Don't get high on your own supply. It's not good to say. Okay, lads, we've spoken about it before, but let's say it again. Oh man, Adrian Newey gone from the team. He's not even on the pit wall anymore. Can you believe that? Things have got so bad in the Red Bull team that Adrian Newey is not even showing up anymore. I mean, for all we know, lads, especially the way contracts can go in motor racing, he could have been bought out. He could have literally taken a pay cut and said, look, Christian, you gave me whatever it is, 10 million for this year. Look, you can take back 3 there. Don't worry about it. 4 million. I mean, these kind of contract scenarios could have happened, lads. Just get away from that team. And not only that, he showed up at the Aston Martin car launch, or well, not even a car launch for next year. It was an Adrian Newey launch. I mean, good Lord, that never happens, lads. It never happens. That is huge, huge news. I haven't seen it in my racing days. I've had problems in my teams every now and then. Other drivers have had problems every now and then. But you don't pack the bags up. You finish off the year. Now, if Adrian Newey wins this year, if Red Bull win the championship this year, the Drivers' Championship, Adrian Newey's going to take the credit. And he should be taking the credit because the man bloody deserves all of the credit. But there's something going on here in the Red Bull team, lads. I mean, we've heard the rumours about Christian Horner, and there was a girl he was, quote, right? Let's quote because we don't know. fiddling around or playing with her or something on the lines of this, right? And it wasn't very clear what people were saying in the headlines online, but it was just enough for us to go, oh, you mean he was, and people were like, yeah, he must have been having an affair, man, or, like sort of all over being creepy with this girl. We don't know all the information, guys. And for all we know, it could have been something entirely different. We don't know. But there's something very off in that Red Bull team right now. I mean, extremely off. I could even see Verstappen deciding here, look, like if he could, Verstappen would probably be running out of the team at the moment as well at this stage. Hard to know. Now let's look at the Daniel Ricciardo scenario. Everybody's saying Ricciardo's gone from F1. It's all over. Pack your bags, boy. You're sailing off into the abyss. Not even the sunset for him. Now, guys, we haven't had... Now, I'm recording this and maybe something will come out just after recording this, and fair enough if that's the case. But there's no real proof yet that Ricciardo's gone from the team. There's none. There's a lot of rumors. Now, it could be true. The Adrian Newey scenario, only a few months ago, people were saying, oh, that's it, Adrian Newey, he's done, he's gone, good luck. He's given Red Bull a finger. Then I was like, well, hold your horses, lads. There's a lot of rumors, guys, that do go around every single day, all right? Every single day. I mean, even I saw one a few days ago. Verstappen was in a McLaren jumpsuit, racing suit. Why am I saying jumpsuit? A racing suit. Right? Let's just pump the brakes here. But look, okay, let's say it is true. Well, what this happened with Logan Sargent during the year, this is not good. This is not good. This is, I think, almost becoming a fashion trend now, where if we're done with a racing driver, yeah, we're going to boot him out halfway through the season. It breeds no security. It doesn't give anybody in the team, even if you're the engineer or the mechanic, lads, it still doesn't give them security. You could say, oh, well, it's not the driver, but if the driver who always, look, let's be honest, he's the, quote, star of the team, right? He gets the attention, the driver. Now, if he gets booted out, well, I can tell you this. Knowing the racing world, these boys would not be feeling very, very secure in their job as a mechanic, engineer, whatever position you have in the team. James Vowles started this with Logan Sargent. You could argue with me. Red Bull did this with Gasly a few years ago, brought in Albon instead. Well, that was one of those freak occurrences, but at the same time, you have to remember that Christian Horner had the second Red Bull team to put Gasly back into. So it was just a musical chairs swap of seats. So this one is either he's gone or he's done. James Vowles with Logan Sargent, he started this fashion bloody trend, and now here we have discussions about Ricciardo. If this does happen, lads, and if it is confirmed, this is going to be happening again and again and again and again, because this wasn't a thing before, and now if this kicks off, it's going to be a thing. And finally, lads, the last bit of news. Now, I know we've interrupted our Netflix breakdown. Normally, we do the Formula 1 on a Monday and Friday of a Grand Prix, and after, as when we get the reaction, the highlight, the warm-up, and then the reaction after a race. And then if we don't have Formula 1, we've got Netflix. We're breaking it all down. But guys, we're nearly getting to the end of the year here, so we're going to finish off with a bang here, because we're going to obviously come out with all this news, keep you up to date. But the last one, bit of funny news. I'm sure most of the world have heard this. But Max Verstappen getting community service after swearing in a TV press conference. I've never heard of this in motor racing in my life. Normally, when I was racing, lads, and Formula 1 guys were racing at that time, there wasn't any swearing. It was more like we were a lot more clean-shaven. We had to look clean-shaven, right? No stubble. Had to look presentable for sponsors, etc. No bad language. That really was a big, big thing back in my days. And this is only going back 10 years, lads. We're not going back very far here. And now it's just become a fashion trend where the drivers have got the stubble, their messy hair, right? They're messing on camera and stuff, which is cool, by the way. I would have loved that back in my day because it shows there's a bit of rock and roll with the Formula One drivers, right? It kind of adds to the image. 100% adds to the image, which is great for all of us too. You know, it's more fun. And then people are obviously cursing now more. Obviously the drivers are being careful in terms of the pre-interviews, post-race interviews. But look, sometimes they've let it slip out. No big deal. But community service? I mean, look, if you watch it on Sky Sports or any other TV channel, sometimes they're not giving it to you completely live, as in they'll record it, then they'll wait to just in case the driver is cursing or something else has happened, and then they'll edit it very quickly and then put it out on TV after a few minutes or even a half an hour or whatever, right? So they've always have that little bit of time to address any problems. And this has gone insane. This has gone insane. Kevin Magnussen, only a few for Singapore, gets a one race ban for nothing. And you can watch the video I did. I broke down that one. He did absolutely diddly squat. It was ridiculous. And he gets a one race ban. Now he's back. Thank God. Kevin Magnussen, not a dirty pilot. Max Verstappen, yeah, he does curse. So what? So what? Just block it out. Give the old beep. What's the problem? And why are the FIA doing something about it? The TV programs, they would literally block it out for us lads. So I'm not blaming the TV. I'm not at all. I'm just wondering, why are the FIA jumping in to do this? Is there something else going on here? Are they going to try and penalize Max Verstappen in an other way, shape or form if he does not do it? One would have to wonder here, lads. Seriously, the stuff I've seen in Formula One and motor racing in general, the politics and the crap that teams go to, the reach that they'll pull just to get you disqualified from a race or get banned from a race so they can go win. The amount of stuff I've seen, it would make your head spin, lads. And a lot of you wouldn't actually believe it because a lot of the teams can be very, very petty and pathetic sometimes. Whether it's Formula One, karting, motor racing. We've seen some of it in Netflix. You know, the moment Christian Horner sees Mercedes with that adjustable wheel and it goes back and forth only a few years ago, bang, straight to court. Toto Wolff sees something on his car, bang, straight to court. They're all protest. Zach Brown protesting the Alpine Force India car, and that was at a practice session even before the race, the first round of the year, and they're straight to court, protesting. So maybe there's something else going on here, lads. We'll see. Obviously, we'll see, but if Max Verstappen has to do this community service, and this might be a stretch, and we'll leave it here. It might be a stretch. If Max Verstappen does not do it, and all of a sudden they take action further, and if he gets a 5-second penalty, you can bet your bottom dollar that McLaren are behind it. Now, again, I don't want to be throwing out rumors here, but I smell something here in the background. I smell something wrong because this is the first time I've ever heard of community service in the whole history of motor racing, going back to the 40s, 50s. Community service? Why aren't they giving them a race? Why aren't they giving them community service when they curse on the pit radio? Seriously, why? Why not? Wouldn't that make sense too? Anyway, lads, that is the F1 news for now. Funny stuff and very dramatic stuff. We'll be back again, of course, for a lot more. Talk to you later, guys. Enough said.
Walsh running the Irish crane, and look at the move he's making down to the inside.
Moves to the front from 5th all the way to the lead in lap 1.
Walsh takes win number 2.
Peter Walsh.